Hey everyone, welcome back to New School News. I'm Allison Royal. This next story came to me from an anonymous tipster. She's an LA County employee and she didn't feel comfortable sharing her identity. But if you weren't aware, all Los Angeles County employees are required to get the COVID-19 vaccine. That's as of October 1st, 2021. However, if they find a way around it, or maybe if they're just not complying, they are required to get tested through a company called Fulgent Genetics. It's based over in Temple City, which is also in Los Angeles County. It was founded by a Chinese American billionaire named Ming Hsieh. This is where things get interesting. In late 2021, supposedly the FBI reached out to LA County and said that it was, quote, very concerned that Fulgent might be sharing patient data with the Chinese government. Keep in mind, this is the same company that our government in Los Angeles County is contracting with. In the end, the LA County Board of Supervisors gave a no-bid contract to Fulgent Genetics. County Supervisor Hilda Solis was the one pushing for it. She's also a proud USC alumna, just like Ming Hsieh. Put a pin in that, remember that. Before serving on the Board of Supervisors for LA County, she worked for the Obama administration as the Secretary of Labor. Solis was also the first member of Obama's cabinet to endorse Joe Biden for president. However, some people, including Sheriff Villanueva, are sketched out about this partnership. Any employee that has to get tested has to go through Fulgent Genetics. They can't do at-home testing. They can't go through their own provider. They have to use Fulgent, no exceptions. And it turns out this is a pretty lucrative arrangement we're talking about. I spent months trying to get my hands on the documents and the contract, but I finally did. This is what I found.
You're asking us to go into a company's website that's telling us don't use it if you disagree, but yet the county is forcing people to use it. How does that make any kind of sense? How is that legal? How is that moral and how is that ethical?
In late 2021, Sheriff Villanueva said he received, quote, very concerning information regarding Fulgent sharing LA County information with the Chinese government, supposedly. In this letter to the LA County Board of Supervisors, Villanueva said an FBI weapons of mass destruction coordinator briefed him on this matter. It says here, quote, entering into a no-bid contract with Fulgent Genetics and allowing them to have the DNA data obtained from mandatory COVID-19 testing for unknown purposes has shattered all confidence my personnel have in this entire process. Of course, there was some backlash, so check out this memo that I got in my public records request. In the memo sent to employees after the FBI and Villanueva voiced their concerns, the county assured hesitant workers that Fulgent is an American company licensed by the California Department of Public Health, and of course backed by the FDA. LA County employees are forced to use Fulgent. They're coerced to do it in some people's words, or they lose their job. One of those employees is Brian Smith. He works in a correctional facility for the Sheriff's Department over in LA County.
They contracted with this company to begin the wide range tracking, testing, and data collection of every single Los Angeles County employee.
Smith is one of the employees concerned about what happens to his swab after it leaves his nose.
Huge red flag, just on its face, is it's a genetics company. Why are we testing with a genetics company? Why is this the company you contracted with?
According to this memo sent out to county employees that I obtained, Fulgent says test samples are burned 48 hours after processing. The county also consistently maintains that the samples are destroyed. Harry Gao of Fulgent says the company processes the samples for viral RNA extraction, but not human genetic information. However, not everybody is confident that this is true.
Okay, let me take you at your word, right? Like you're going to dispose of it in 2 days. Well, what can happen in 2 days? You're a genetics company. What are you doing with my DNA? You will have my DNA on the swab. You're telling me you don't do anything with that? How am I supposed to trust that?
It's important to emphasize that when I spoke to the county, it repeatedly emphasized that human genetic information is not collected and stored in this mandatory testing process for county employees. However, some employees have some privacy concerns, like Smith.
So if you go further down into their privacy policy and you look through their, the different stuff they have listed, they talk about being able to share with third parties, with other entities that they do business with. They talk about they will do their best, whatever that means, to secure people's private information.
In the contract, it says that Fulgent Genetics follows HIPAA law and other relevant privacy policies. According to the contract here between Fulgent and the LA County Board of Supervisors, for security, it says it requires advanced encryption standards and says security should be in accordance with Fulgent's best business practices. Then it states the lab result goes to Lane's Los Angeles Network for Enhanced Services. It's a community health information exchange. However, the county did admit in my public records request that in this process, it does collect demographic information.
People are saying, wait a second, this doesn't make sense. Why do I have to divulge my personal information to this third party?
When Smith started poking around when this process first started, he was surprised to find out that Fulgent already had his personal information, like his date of birth and his name, thanks to LA County.
Essentially, what it said was, I'm paraphrasing, if you're trying to mask your identity, be aware that Fulgent already has your information provided to them from the county. What? Well, who gave him that right? Who gave the County of Los Angeles the right to provide my personal information to a third party that we have no idea what they do with it?
LA County also says it contracts with Fulgent to manage employee vaccination records.
Get this. The top two owners of Fulgent Genetics are, you guessed it, Vanguard and Blackrock. Those are the two powerhouses that also own Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson.
Here's another interesting thing that I uncovered in the contract and privacy policy. The county is not liable. In the contract, Fulgent agreed that LA County and the Board of Supervisors, like Solis, will be, quote, harmless and not liable in the event anything goes wrong. It also said it will, quote, defend LA County and the board in the event that there are any hiccups. The county sent out a letter to employees assuring that the company is an American one and that ties to China are not a factor in this case.
Then it goes on to say that, however, we will have stored data outside of the jurisdictions of the United States, so that they will store information and data that they get in other servers in different parts of the world, and they basically spell out that basically would have less restrictions on privacy policy.
After controversy, Fulgent revamped its privacy policy. However, in an internal memo from Director of Personnel Lisa Garrett, which was sent to county employees, it said LA County says that Fulgent maintained that the information can only be processed here in the United States. So how much money are we talking here for this contract? Well, the county confirmed to me in the contract that so far, LA County has paid Fulgent $27 million just in community testing and over $3 million in county employee testing. So that's $30 million. Also, this partnership has no end in sight. According to the agreement, it will stop 6 months after the county eventually terminates its ongoing state of emergency. But so far, there is no end in sight to the county giving up its emergency powers.
And we're going to force everybody to use your system. And when I say force, I mean force, meaning through coercion, manipulation, threats of termination or discipline.
Smith said that the Sheriff's Department decided not to comply with this order.
The Sheriff's Department created another internal link just within the department saying, hey, let's collect our information here. We'll keep it here in-house. We're not going to allow it to be shared with a third party.
Smith said he does not comply with the Fulgent testing mandate, but still has his job with the Sheriff's Department and is still going to work. After I initially interviewed Smith, he also announced that he is running to replace Solis on the County Board of Supervisors representing District 1.
I will die on this hill if it means getting people to wake up and to be heard and for the powers that be to be addressed.
Remember Supervisor Hilda Solis and Fulgent CEO Ming Hsieh? Well, Solis is running for re-election. According to her public campaign contribution records here, her donors include big names like Amazon, Nancy Pelosi, Disney, and Airbnb. Fulgent is also a donor to the National Committee on U.S.-China Relations. Hsieh serves on the committee's board of directors, alongside some people that represent names that will sound familiar. Some of the other board members include Mark Wiedemann, the Senior Managing Director and Head of International and Corporate Strategy of Blackrock. Yes, Blackrock, the same company that owns all the COVID vaccines and Fulgent. And then Yvonne P., Senior Vice President of the Walt Disney Company of Greater China. Remember, Disney donates to Solis's campaign. I corresponded with the public relations representative for Fulgent for months. It's ML Strategies LLC over in Boston. The company ultimately decided to not answer my questions that I think people in LA County deserve fair answers to. Earlier this year, Fulgent also said it plans to sue Villanueva for his comments trying to discredit the company supposedly late last year. It's not just LA County, by the way. Several governments and school districts all over the country partner with Fulgent for their COVID-19 testing. Fulgent also has contracts with many governments to mail out its own at-home PCR tests. Take San Joaquin County, by the way. In February 2022, Chairman Chuck Wynn signed an $825,000 Fulgent contract. That was exactly 1 week before the Board of Supervisors publicly approved it unanimously. Some people in San Joaquin County are calling for a grand jury investigation and formal audit into this decision. I'm Allison Royal, and this is New School News. Please be sure to subscribe here on Rumble.